Yo, what's going on? This your guys Buffed and Prime, CT the Fan, T Cal. We here, man, talking about Virginia Tech. See, you got a new defensive coordinator. How you feel about that, bro?
Um, I don't know. We gotta look at more stuff from the stats. Not a bad move. From what he did his last year at Virginia Tech was 2024. He was hired to be the linebacker coach currently,
Mm.
and just got promoted. Update everybody on the news if you haven't.
So Robert Livingston's gone left CU to go be the defensive passing game coordinator for the Denver Broncos, which actually reunites him with Vance Joseph. They coached together a little bit under Cincinnati. Um, So that created a vacancy, and Prime decided to coach. Decided to promote from within, and he hired and he the linebacker coach that he brought in, like I said, former defensive coordinator for Virginia Tech. He got promoted, and he's the new defensive coordinator at CU. I mean, it went boom, boom, bam, just like that.
That's a bet. Let me update this title.
Yeah, so
Robert
that's
Livingston is gone.
gone. That's I remember when Robert Livingston got hired. I mean, it- everything's changed. Everything's so fast. Like how you feel about the Robert Livingston era in
Uh,
NCU?
you tell us how you feel about it.
Well, at first I thought, I said, okay, I was kind of hesitant about it because you find out, okay, he never called plays, so we didn't know what he was
Mhm,
going to get into. Because you said it's one of those things, either you can do it or you can't. So
mhm,
then it's like, all right, and then we found out, okay, well, he's coming in, but he can't bring his own staff. So who's so he not only has to coach the coaches there, he has to coach the coaches and the players for whatever system. So then
mhm,
he had a so he said, okay, what I do is, and I expected for one season, so this could probably work. You got so much talent on the defense side of the ball. He said, hey, let me just coach to their strength. You know what I'm saying? And then because he was a really late hire that year because
mhm.
everybody sitting around waiting, like, hey, when CU's gonna hire this defensive coordinator? When is CU gonna hire this defensive coordinator? And then they hired him. We did a video, went crazy viral. Um, but then second year, I thought, okay, well, maybe now he got his time. He's got his boots wet. He was going to probably implement his own system or some kind of new system. I feel like we didn't get that. Uh, and then this last season, I mean, man, they could not stop the run. So I had to read it twice when
Oh,
Denver said they hired him for passing game coordinator because boy, it went from giving up. The defense went from giving up 400 yards a game to 400 rushing yards a game, and that last that last little bit, the last few games were like Arizona State, Utah, and just anybody that wanted to run, just hey, here you go. I just felt like at that point, I was surprised that Robert Livingston actually was still on the roster.
yeah,
Honestly,
yeah. I felt like you were off the Robert Livingston
I was off
train
the
for a
chain. I
while.
was like, man, look, I was surprised it came to this. Like, it really took this long. Honestly, I mean, after me, honestly, midway through last season, and I feel kind of, I don't know the ins and outs. I don't know,
Mhm.
the goings. I don't know, I know you had to run man, and you had to do certain things. I know if you couldn't play certain. I don't know. I'm not gonna say all that, but I'm gonna say from what he did last year, I think hey, I think you should move on. Honestly, I think you should move on now.
Well, that's the thing. Do you think he was pushed out or he decided to leave?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think sometimes you can get people could bring people around you to make you start feeling real uncomfortable in the sense of, hey, looking over your shoulder and saying, hey, this and that, this and that. I think it was kind of might have been a win-win for him, really. It looked like he might have made a phone call up to and said, hey, can I
Mhm,
get, because it looked like a passing game coordinator, what I'm saying? You went from, because a lot of defensive coordinators usually be in line for at least a head coach. I mean, college job. So you could, but I
mhm.
mean, yes, it's the Broncos. Yes, it's an NFL team. Yes, they were in the AFC Championship game, but defensive passing game coordinator sounds like a title that, they just, I mean, granted, he was a secondary coach at Cincinnati, so it's
Mhm.
not. far fetched, but I do feel like it's a little bit of both. I do feel like, hey, kind of got showed the door and worked out so he can get out. So
Why do you think he would have been showed it this late though?
mm, I well, it could be anything. I mean, it could be like, hey, you start bumping heads with the new staff, or staff's pushing back on you. You're trying to implement this, or you want to do this, you want to do that, and then you just realize, hey, this ain't gonna work. And
Mhm.
you could have been a conversation had and say, hey, I know you brought all these players in. I mean, these new coaches in, but I didn't have any say so of these coaches. I'm the defensive coordinator, and I didn't bring in the coaches. You brought in the coaches. So naturally, if you surround me with people that, you know, hey, I didn't bring in, you brought them in. So if we're trying to have a conversation, I'm trying to implement this and you getting me pushback, you getting me pushback, I think it could be real uncomfortable. And I think you can say, hey, I need to go. This ain't gonna work for me. This might not be the best situation for me. So then I just feel like, hey, he probably listening might have made a phone call and said, "Hey, can you find me something? You got something for me?" And there it is. Now he's a defensive passing game coordinator. I don't even know where that falls in between secondary coach and like
I don't
what?
know. NFL's kind of weird how they do stuff. Yeah, I'm not sure. Heard he had interviewed with the Cowboys. I don't know what position that was for though. But
Mhm.
yeah, I'm not I'm not sure on that.
I know
Because a lot of
last year.
times coaches will also be passing game coordinators. So it could be like, corner coach plus passing game coordinator and so forth. So yeah, that's kind of interesting.
Yeah,
Him leaving at that time for that job. I want to know what the pay is. There's
mhm.
there's there's a lot of questions that I have regarding it. There's a lot of questions.
No, that's understandable because I'm like, for a passing game coordinator, if you're on the Broncos, you got your defensive coordinator and then you got your secondary coach. So does that mean Robert Lifton is going to be calling the coverages on the Broncos defense? Like I don't, I just
Passing game coordinator is really mainly during the week. Like you're getting them ready for the team that they're playing. Like you're making sure you guys have the right coverages for the team that you're going to be facing this upcoming week and stuff like that.
mm,
So it doesn't
God,
mean that he's calling the plays, but that's he's making
okay.
sure that everything's in place.
Man, it's a shocker. When I saw the headlines, it was like, but I get it, and it's wild because what makes me feel like maybe you kind of got forced out because I feel like this should have happened long ago, and just
Mhm.
like now it's just now happening. It doesn't seem like it's something you partner way mutual. And then like, because if you knew you wasn't going to keep, or if you was going to leave, it, I don't know. He should have just this should have just happened a long, long, long time ago. And so I'm
Like
not.
during the season or when?
I'm saying like during the season. I mean, at that point, definitely, I feel like during the season. But I feel like, hey, maybe the talk was bringing him back, and then you got back, and then like you said, I don't know. There's a lot of coaching changes over at CU, so I don't know if he was able to say, okay, I want this linebacker coach, or I want this coach, or I want this coach, or if all those calls decisions was made above his head, and then it just became, hey, you know, just because you bring people in doesn't mean like you guys can work like hey, you can't work together. That matters.
I mean, there weren't really any coaches brought in. Still not clear on the cornerback coach situation. I was told that there's a new coach that's going to be coaching the nickels, and Coach Mathis is still coaching the corners. Then the D line coach left. So really, that nickel coach or corner coach, and then the linebacker coach. That's really all that was brought in. It wasn't, a big change like many expected. Lando was good. Crew was good. Terrence
Salute,
was up.
salute,
Was up.
salute, salute.
And then
Yeah,
coach who knows how to coach. We'll see. Yeah, for sure. And it's gonna be interesting, man, because I'm sure some of these transfers came there to play for Coach Livingston.
Mhm.
And when you're recruiting these transfers, you're telling them the scheme that they're going to be in, how they're going to fit in your scheme, etc. So now these transfers are there, and now all of a sudden, all right, screw everything else that was said. This is what we're going to do now. However, we're going to watch film in Patreon. Uh, in about 15 minutes, we're going to switch over from YouTube going to Patreon. And then Patreon, we're going to watch some Virginia Tech film so we can familiarize ourselves with what type of defense they should be running. Now, the question is, what defense is actually going to be ran? Because I know from being in Colorado, from talking to Coach Livingston, that he was not um, allowed to as much freedom as he would have liked. Like a
Right.
lot of things were being um, vetoed by Prime. The reason they ran so much man was Prime. Like all of that stuff was mainly Prime. So yeah, we definitely want to see how that happens. Nobody got you blocked, Des.
Yeah.
What's good? What's good?
Dude, what's good?
3 to 4 what? Wins? They don't run a 3-4 defense if you're saying that. I
Oh,
haven't watched
Virginia Tech. We got so much. Yeah, y'all better tap into Patreon, man. We got Sacramento State. We got to break down their offensive scheme, the go-go. Now Virginia Tech. We got to look at the defensive scheme. I'm just curious, man, just to see because we was like, who's deciding who's getting the play? You feel like why is this player playing? Why is this player still playing out? Like, I I don't know. I just feel like, hey, but I feel like it's a win-win, honestly. I feel like, hey, Livingston, hey, you found yourself another job. Maybe you got yourself out of a situation that wasn't for you, and see you, hey, looking at them game film last year in that run game. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I feel like he should have been. Yeah, his goodbye could have came a lot earlier.
it. But why would his goodbye come a lot earlier if you know as a coach that you're the one changing a bunch of stuff as a head coach?
Well, hey, maybe this time when you went to San Juan change this as the head coach, the defense court said, "No, I need you." You could add a conversation. I can't. But you could add a conversation says, "Hey, look, I'm really gonna need control of this defense. Like I'm gonna need our. This is. I come to you and say, this is the scheme I want to run. Like this is what I want
That's
to
it. He
do."
can't bring nobody with him. The staff's already in place, so he's still not getting control. And I don't believe that he was hired with the notion that Livingston was going to leave. Especially the way Colorado does things, they would have hired him, not said anything until Livingston got a job, and then said, "All right, this is our new DC."
Right.
Or you could have said, Livingston was looking to pursue other coaching jobs. So I don't think this was planned in that sense from the start because he was hired in December and it's February. So it's 2 months later before he becomes, the new
Yeah, no,
coach.
I definitely think feels like some energy, something went wrong. This conversation that said, "Hey, or hey, I'm not no longer here. I'm not longer feeling it. I'm not vibing. Like I need to go. I want to go. You know what I'm saying? I don't
Mhm.
feel like I don't feel like well, I don't trust nobody. I don't know, bro. Can't
Yeah,
wait.
and
That's tough.
so
We talk about any other school, baby. But when you talk about certain school, I don't know, man. The
yeah,
stuff be happening. Stuff be happening.
and Huncho, they definitely still running press, man. I
Mhm.
started watching Virginia Tech today, and yeah, they they're gonna play some press, but we'll be able to see. They, from what I've seen so far, they run a lot of cover three, like a ton of cover three, cover one. Obviously, that's why you're in press man. They they do a few other little things. It's hard to tell. Trying to see if they're running cover four or not. I'll be able to tell the more film I watch on them. I've only watched probably like 15 plays so far, and they do different things. Um, Something to make people feel good in 2024. They held Virginia Tech to 6 point, or not Virginia Tech, Georgia Tech to 6 points on offense, and that was a year before Colorado just played them, and they played Georgia Tech to open the season this year. However, I will say Haynes King was not the quarterback that game. He was hurt. So that's a big difference to Georgia Tech's offense. But however, just overall scheme wise, and I mean they don't got Haynes King this year.
Right.
Uh, they have Alberto Mendoza and then another quarterback. So he's as DC at Virginia Tech. He's been familiar with Georgia Tech scheme. Played a great game against them, even without Haynes King. They still had Jamal Haynes, Eric Singleton, etc. So his stats going into this year have been really solid, really solid. And I'll read some of them off. In 2022, his first year as DC at Virginia Tech, they had the number 55 total defense, number 42 rush defense, number 82 pass defense. His second year at Virginia Tech, they had the number 20 total ranked defense in college football, number 57 rush defense, number 4 pass defense. And then his last year at Virginia Tech before he was fired, number 57 total defense, number 63 rush defense, number 61 pass defense, but number 7 red zone defense. So that's definitely beneficial. And then Colorado last year, number 41 pass defense, number 133rd rush defense out of 134 schools, number 127 in sacks, number 90 in tackles for loss, and number 121 total defense. So it goes both ways for me. Not like Livingston. I met with him last spring. We got up on the whiteboard, was drawing stuff up. And I think I understand a decent amount of him about him. However, I understand some other things. It's a weird dynamic in that meeting room. And I talked about it on Patreon. And that meeting room last year was full of yes men. Now Warren Sapp wasn't in it because he doesn't go to meetings. And Coach Prime called me crying about that because he said I tell people that he doesn't always show up, and I don't know the schedule he makes for Warren Sapp. But anyways, it was a bunch of yes men in that meeting. So I'll tell people what happened. Before Georgia Tech, I had made a scouting report and game plan for Delaware and for Georgia Tech. Now, the scouting report is not no regular scouting report. It's in Patreon. I'm telling you exactly what plays to run against certain things, how you need to have guys fit in certain situations versus how you may normally do it. And I walked through that. And Livingston read all my scouting reports. I gave them to Livingston. When we were there in person, we went through them. I brought extra copies for Prime, but when I met with Prime, I quickly realized football is not what he cares about. He would have thrown that in the trash. Like, he's not trying to talk X's and O's. I'm not finna waste my time. You're not about to waste my paper. I sent it to him via text message later, but yeah. Livingston, he was talking X's and O's. Once he realized I wasn't a Make-A-Wish kid, he was like, all right. So me and him talking. And going into the Georgia Tech game all the way back to last spring, in read option situations, they had the safety on certain plays, on certain blitzes, taking the quarterback in read option. I'm like, you can't do that. And last spring, I told Patreon, I said, yo, Haynes King's going, the one thing I can tell you, he's going to tear a hamstring, maybe both, because of how many yards he's going to run for. And you saw how many yards he ran for.
And the game winner. Nasty work.
That was a part of it. And then we had a discussion because I had watched the Bengals film, saw the way they did certain things. So I asked him why he didn't do that at Colorado, especially going into Georgia Tech. And I talked to him about how against Georgia Tech, Haynes King always wants he wants to get vertical now. He's not a quarterback on his run plays, or he doesn't scramble. He doesn't try to get to the outside. He's not like Michael Vick trying to get to the outside, then turn upfield. He's trying to get vertical now. And the way that you stop that is you have the first linebacker spill the puller, meaning go inside of the puller when they're running quarterback power, and spill it, meaning the ball can't go there. It has to overflow outside. So then you force him to do what he doesn't want to do. They didn't do that. The specific play we sat down and was talking about going back and forth on is the play that won the game when they ran quarterback power. Haynes King took it, looking back at the defense, So certain things with that. The other thing that I wasn't excited about with Livingston is I didn't see safeties develop. Tawfiq Bayer, he he would I don't even know if he started a game at USF. So and he was rotating a lot, so you never got to see the full him. Last year, you got to see the full him. Carter Stoutmeyer never developed during his time at Colorado, not a lick. Uh, I don't think Shiloh really developed from his time at Colorado. I can't say Cam Simon Craig was hooping like back to Jackson State as a freshman. Can't say
Yeah,
he was
that's fact.
developed. And Coach Livingston is also the safeties coach. And there's certain things that I'm seeing by the safeties that should
Oof.
never, under
Yeah,
any
that
circumstance,
one guy.
be allowed. I mean, is all of them is cover two. You're letting the number one receiver get inside of you as a cover two safety. You can never be out leveraged inside by the number one receiver. Just a whole bunch of just cardinal rules, cardinal sins just done in that defensive back end. And I don't know fully how much his hands are tied as far as Prime saying, hey, you got to play this player. This is why I want playing. That's what we're doing, etc. Like you remember Kansas State, we saw it on the documentary. Is there a documentary coming out, by the way, this year? Not the
Um,
talking about the Amazon program. I'm not
yeah.
not the other one. But when we was watching that, we saw when Shiloh had that rough game against Kansas State, Livingston asked if he could take him out, and he said no,
Mhm.
essentially. So he didn't, have as much say.
Yeah, I mean, this whole move kind of feels like a just an emotional decision. Like, it's just like, hey, I'm just, you know what? Yeah, I'm not feeling you no more. Find something
Well, it might
else.
not be an emotional decision. I think Livingston probably left on his own accord because
Right.
if this was a decision, this would have happened, way back when. I think Livingston left on his own accord. I told you on Patreon, I said Livingston's gone. As soon as I saw them content creators, the mouthpieces for Colorado saying Livingston's still getting interviewed by the NFL, I knew what time it was. That's Prime telling them, saying, hey, Livingston's probably going to be gone. Make sure we put it out so people aren't shocked and we need to get ahead of this. As soon as I saw that reported, that's coming from Prime himself. And he's doing
Mhm.
that to set it up so people aren't as shocked. Because now I guarantee you go look in some comment section, you're going to see they already told us he was getting interviewed. We knew this was coming. Like, I know what's happening. So I think Livingston left. He did not leave for a promotion, yet that adds another coach that left Colorado and did not leave for a promotion. Like, at some point, guys, hey, is it me? The only coach that left for a promotion ever.
It's Marshall
Uh,
Falk.
yeah, I mean, he's getting paid less. He's getting paid like 200K
Oh,
less
God.
per year.
But hey, that should even scream even more.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take a pay cut and go.
But really, the only one less was Sean Lewis. That's his name. Yeah, yeah. Sean Lewis went to be the head coach at San Diego State. That's the only coach that I can think of since Prime's been there that left and got promoted and didn't go down or get the same level job that they already had. It's a bad sign. That's a sign of the culture. Remember when Prime first came in and a reporter asked him what culture is, and he said, "Oh, uh, I hate talking about culture. Like, what does culture even mean? That's what it means. That is what it means. It is the behavior that is built and tolerated, and expectations that are built and tolerated among your organization.
Right.
That is culture, and that's what's been tolerated. So, as a coach, you're like, hey, yeah, I can go there, but is somebody gonna want me after I'm there? Is somebody gonna want me at a higher level while I'm there? Not even that as far as somebody wants them, they're getting offered. Almost all these coaches left. Like it wasn't like they didn't want to be there anymore, is what I'm saying. So
Mhm.
that's the culture. Coaches don't want to be there and are willing to take less money or even go down to achieve that. Who do I think will play on the other side of England? I'm not sure yet. I have no idea yet.
Yeah.
The way they run things at Colorado is not the standard. Prime will be mid-season. How much y'all want to bet? Prime will be fired mid-season. Dev, people don't even think he's on the hot seat, which is hilarious to me. Yeah, it wasn't the true Georgia Tech, as we know.
Facts.
Yeah, Warren Sapp, boy. How come he ain't promote Warren Sapp to D-line coach?
Mm.
A grad assistant got the job over the Warren Sapp? What, you want to call me crying? Because you said I told people that he wasn't in there for meetings? Clearly, you don't believe in him. Was Livingston also handicapped with not having a complete defense with talent gaps? You have to do workarounds and compromise with your scheme against certain opponents. No, I can't say that. Outside of defensive tackle, I don't think they were handicapped at all. I don't think so. Charles Kelly went down first. He went from being the D coordinator at Colorado to being the assistant D coordinator at Auburn, and then got to being a head coach. What's good? What's good?
Yo, what's going on? What up, Whoop?
What's up? Didn't all the coaches at CU get pay cuts? So is Livingston making the same or more now? I don't know. I heard about the pay cut thing, but never saw anything like actually solidified about it. Program is certainly a work in progress, nowhere near a finished product. Love the transformation efforts made, though. I mean, it's year 4. It still can't, like, year 4, you want to work in progress to be the same staff you've been rocking, then seeing a steady incline. They done had
new staff every year.
D coordinator. This is going to be the 3rd offensive coordinator. And they've only played 3 seasons so far. That's pretty crazy. And then you've had multiple tight ends coaches, multiple special teams coaches, multiple D-line coaches. You know what surprised me? I thought they were is Hilo still there? Or they were thinking about
I feel like George Hilo was still there. So I'm just like,
I had heard some talks about he might be the next DC.
That's yeah.
But that clearly didn't happen.
No. They went with the Virginia Tech, probably went with some experience.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you have to see what it. I don't know, man. At this point, after all this, like all the chaos, just like I think people don't understand, like what college program. You got a new offensive coordinator every year, a new defensive coordinator every year, and you're in year 4 and you're talking about a complete rebuild.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. Like that, you coming off a 3-9 season. You finished 15 out of 16 in the Big 12. Like,
what makes it worse is you're doing a complete rebuild with almost all the same coaches underneath the coordinators. Like, that defeats the purpose. I don't know. It'd be interesting. You might be better off getting all new assistants and keeping the same coordinators than vice versa. So we'll see how it works. And y'all make sure y'all like, share, comment, and subscribe to this video. Follow us on Patreon. That's where we're moving over now. That's where we're about to break down film of Chris Marv when he was the D coordinator at Virginia Tech. So we're going to watch a little bit of them at Virginia Tech. And then at some point on YouTube, we'll put a breakdown on there as well. But yeah, man. CT, final words.
Okay, to evolve. Who's next?
Who's next? Do your words match your video? Yeah, this for my boy TKL, CT the fan. Yeah, we on that buff train, man. Yeah, the boys, they put it down. I watch them every day. Hey, they gonna put you on a pillar, or they gonna put you down there where you belong. They ain't gonna care for you. Nah, they ain't gonna care for you. Yeah, they gonna love on you. They gonna tell you what to do to get yourself better.